So back in Bandoneon, people were very surprised that my first full album was not tango. It was actually classical music. And so this was talk about weird ideas. So the bandoneon as an instrument is actually challenging to learn in the beginning because the buttons are different in, going, out, and so it's different on both hands, and you can't see your hands. So you have to learn 4 keyboard systems. And so what a lot of professional bandoneonists do when they're learning is they study a lot of Bach because Bach doesn't stop. The notes just keep going, so you have to keep going in and out, and you really learn the keyboard system. You also learn really good technique because one of the other hard things about the instrument is control of the air, good air quality. And Bach really trains that. So I spent a lot of time studying Bach and really loved playing his music on bandoneon. So I've been playing bandoneon for 7 years, and one of my teachers early on said, when you're studying a piece of music, you should only first study music where a professional told you when to open and close, because in the beginning you don't know the best ways to do it. So when I was in Buenos Aires in 2019, I was like, I am ready to put my openings and closings. So I arranged a Bach fugue for 2 bandoneons because it's actually kind of there's a lot of Bach fugues are impossible to do it with one person. You need 2 people. So I arranged it and put the openings and closing and had lessons with my teacher Santiago Segret of him like helping me through it. And he was like, you should record these. I'm like, no one's gonna study these. This is a lot of work. Anyways, the pandemic hits. And so I'm at home because, like, I do anesthesia and all the elective cases were canceled. So I was like, what am I going to do? I'm just bored. Like, I don't want to get depressed. So I learned Pro Tools. And I thought my first good exercise to practice editing would be to record both bandoneon parts of this Bach fugue. So I recorded it, edited it together, and my husband, who's a video editor, did a video of me playing with me. And I put it on Facebook, and people love it. And my friend Rodrigo Avalos saw it, and he's like, Amy, that's awesome. I want to do a fugue with you. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So I sent him another Bach fugue, and he recorded his part. I edited us together, and my husband did a video of he found a church in Buenos Aires, and I found a church in Silver Spring, Maryland, and my husband edited us playing together. My bandoneon teacher saw this. He's like, this is great. You should do an entire album. And so I told Rodi, I'm like, Rodi, do you want to do a whole album with me of this? He's like, yes. And I'm like, yes. And then it occurred to me because the album is a book of it's a game of books. So he arranged 4 preludes and I arranged 4 fugues from Bach's Well-Tempered Clavier. Number 12 from book 1 and book 2, and number 16 from book 1 and book 2. Intentionally, because I like the idea that when you have the same restrictions, very different outcomes can come out in art. So it occurred to me, I was like, really, you and I should each write a prelude and fugue in the same key, and I'll be book 1 and you be book 2. He's like, that's a great idea. So in this album is also our own compositions in the homage of Bach, not like Bach because no one did it better than Bach, but in homage of him. And then my teacher, Ramiro Guerrero, who encouraged us through this album, also said, Amy, you should record this in a church, like old school. And I'm like, that's crazy. But it stuck with me. So I went to Buenos Aires December of 2020, and we rehearsed like hours, like for 3 weeks, and recorded in the album in 2 days in his church, and it resulted in a sound that I couldn't be happier with the sound that emerged from it. To me, it's one of the things I'm most proud of to date.